Well, the weather is certainly on the warm side today, and the action on track set to be equally as hot as the Academy cars grid up now for their first race of the weekend. There's Alex Conway on the outside of row 1, the points leader, and David Morgan, one of the eldest drivers on the grid, outside of row number 2. Could he possibly get onto the podium here today? Well, in baking hot conditions then, we're ready to go racing with the green group of the Caterham Academy Championship. Lights off, away they go. One or two slightly tardy starts from the midfield, but everybody is away, and the fluorescent yellow machine of Alex Conway will get the lead down to the first corner. 2 times a winner already this season. In fact, the 2 races that they've had so far in 2019 have both been won by Conway, with James Venning winning the opening sprint at Caterham. One car running wide further back there was number 28, but gathers it all together. Fraser Riddington that was, as we ride on board with the 5th place man Benjamin Miller, except he's now the 6th place man because Michael Curley from 10th on the grid comes storming up the inside line. Another car runs out wide there at the hairpin. That was Stephen Hutchinson. It is the typically lively start to this Academy race that we were expecting. It's still side by side here for 5th position, and I think the position will go back once again on the inside line to Ben Miller. He's back into 5th, but that early side-by-side battle has lost them a bit of time already to the leading group, which descends now upon the Agostini hairpin. One of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit, and several drivers, even on this first lap, looking to try and take advantage of that. There's Steve Hutchinson recovering from his wide moment at the hairpin. A couple of others run wide, and around, unfortunately, from towards the back of the field has gone Peter Vincent. A full 360, selects first gear, or tries to, and will eventually rejoin the race, albeit at the back of the pack. On board with David Morgan then, who's not had a brilliant start. He started 4th place, remember. He's lost a bit of ground, but he's already doing something about that. At the inside of David Gracie he goes, and one more position gained, and we saw a brilliant example there of how the slipstream works. This circuit, perhaps more than any other, presents the drivers with ample opportunities to use the draft to execute the overtakes in a straight line. Once you're at the head of a particular group of cars, it can sometimes be difficult to stay there because of that slipstream effect. So that's what creates this fascinating racing here at Snetterton, particularly on this full 300 layout. David Morgan, though, not content with simply executing slipstreaming passes down the straights, he's now driving around the outside of people at one of the trickiest corners in British motorsport, Coram Corner. That was a really nice move made, and he's going for another one now alongside the number 99 machine of Michael Curley. So that's 3 positions gained in less than half a lap for David Morgan, who is showing now the pace that we saw from him in qualifying. May not have got off the line well, but clearly his pace is there this weekend, and a podium may still be possible, except Curley fights back at Riches and actually does well to hook up the second apex. So Michael Curley hanging on. David Morgan looks to have the speed to have another go before too much longer. To the outside into the Wilson hairpin. Very late on the brakes, too late on the brakes, maybe. No, gathers it all together. And David Morgan, that was a really, really brave move. His exit speed isn't spectacular, but he gets the job done nonetheless, and has finally executed the move on Michael Curley. Sideways further back, unfortunately, and around is going Graham Hetherington, and in avoidance, and doing well in fact to avoid contact there, was Dave Curry, who is also a little out of position, having qualified well inside the top 10, but now he's unfortunately lost even more ground, and Dave Curry, 77 machine, thankfully without damage, has rejoined at the back of the pack. Wherever you look, it seems there is side-by-side racing going on. Peter Martin there, the number 80 car, up the inside line as they went through Palmer's. Meanwhile, at the head of the field, Alex Conway has got company, as he probably expected, from James Venning. These are 2 of our definite championship contenders, but Venning hasn't had quite the consistency of Conway so far this year. He's looking, though, to try and add a second victory of the year to his list. He's up the inside through Coram Corner. Conway will hang on if he can, because the next corner at Murray's is a left-hander, and that tactic works. Conway will get to the corner first, comes out of it just about in first position, but now Venning will use the toe down the pit straight to try and attack again. Number 22 is Lydia Gold, the oldest driver on the grid, one of 2 63-year-olds that we've got racing with us this weekend, doing a sterling job midfield at the moment for Lydia, in amongst this battling group of about 10 Caterhams that are nose to tail through the midfield order. Onto the brakes through Murray's. Very easy to lose the rear of the car there as Lydia demonstrates right on cue. Bounces across the grass, does well to gather it all together. She's flicked the indicator on in her excitement and will have lost a lot of momentum down the pit straight as well. Leading pair then through the left-hander at Palmer's, and it is Venning who's now back in front, so he has been able to use that toe to get ahead. And they're being caught now. I think that's by Dimitris Melas in the orange number 2 machine in the background, so we could soon have a three-way fight for the lead. Conway back up the inside of Agostini. Can he get the car stopped? No, he can't. Clatters into the side of Venning, and James Venning, unfortunately, from the lead, is now on the grass. Thankfully, these three had pulled a significant margin over the rest, so he will rejoin still in the podium positions, but there may well be a discussion about that post-race. Venning will argue that he got sort of clobbered out of the way there by Alex Conway. Let's see a replay, see if this sheds any further light on it. There's a gap on the inside, most definitely. Conway goes for it. He's later on the brakes, but on the tighter line, can't get the car stopped. Drifts out wide, and Venning is the unfortunate victim there, you have to say. And he will be very disappointed to have potentially lost his opportunity at a race victory. Alex Conway, though, finds himself now out in a relatively unchallenged race lead. He's coming into the final couple of corners now of what has been a dramatic race here at Snetterton for the green group of the Caterham Academy Championship. But for Alex Conway, already the points leader, this is looking like it could be a pretty lucrative day for him, pending any possible post-race discussions that may be had after that contact he had with James Venning. For the time being, though, he is coming out of the final corner to see the checkered flag and take his third successive victory of the season. Alex Conway wins here at Snetterton, punches the air with delight, and he will be very, very happy indeed to have come out on top of that particular battle. Dimitris Melas is second, and James Venning recovers to third position after that spin. This, meanwhile, is the battle going on for fourth place. David Morgan has now recovered to the position from which he started, but he's under pressure from Benjamin Miller. We're on board with Benjamin now as he tries to make one last slingshot at the back of the silver car. Can he get there before the line? The answer is no, and Morgan will hang on to fourth position after a very, very eventful race indeed.
So Alex, race win, but what happened out there between you and the third place man?
Well, I went up the inside and I had a small lock-up, but there's still plenty of track left on the outside. And then he was in front of me and we came side to side. So my view would be that he turned in on me because he could have kept him straight on, and I could have run him slightly further to the outside, more than a car's width. But we'll see what the clerk says. Happy for the win. Hopefully I get to keep it. My plan was, first of all, don't crash, don't spin. Secondly, secure a podium. And then the third one was wait for others to make a mistake and then profit from it. So it worked. All three parts worked.
Alex went down the inside of me and locked up and ran into the side of me and spun me out. So it's got to go to the clerk of the course, so we don't know whether... Yeah, I personally feel it left me nowhere to go, and it left me standing still. So normally in racing that tends to be a penalty. But anyway, we'll see. It was good racing up until then. I really enjoyed it. It was a good race. Very close.
Awesome battle. It's been fantastic. I got a really terrible start. Couldn't get second gear, couldn't get third gear. I don't know where I was in the pack. I just thought, right, just get on with it, and got through to Will, who I think at the time was probably fifth. Yeah, it's just a great thing, you know. Age is no boundary, is it?
No boundary whatsoever. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff from David Morgan then. He just misses out on the podium. However, there is a post-race penalty for Alex Conway of 5 seconds for that contact with James Venning, meaning Dimitris Melas inherits the race victory.